Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode where I review strange and rare fountain pens. This time, you guessed it, I have a fountain pen made in my country, Romania, in the 1980s. And this fountain pen is called Selena. This particular model is a Selena S. And you can see engraved on the cap Selena S. If you watch my channel, you probably saw the episode where I reviewed the other variety of Selena fountain pen. And that fountain pen had this steel cap, but also a matching body, also made from steel. This time we have a combination between the metallic cap and a plastic body. We have also the name of the producer at the top of the cap, and we have a Flaro. You probably are familiar with this Romanian producer. It was quite prolific during communist times. It released quite a number of models. Mostly were intended for the export market, but some of them ended up in the internal market. But usually there were low quality. The high quality ones that passed the quality control, they reached other markets and they were primarily sold to other communist countries. So interesting. Another sign that this model was a model intended for the export market, we have a little, let's say, ring at the end of the metallic cap. If we have this brushed steel finish, here we have a shiny finish, and on it we have Flaro and important Romania. So, because it was a export product, they also added the word Romania. It is a Romanian made product. Again, Selena S. The cap is a friction fit cap and it reveals a quite interesting grip section. Unfortunately, you can see on this grip section we have a quite large crack that almost reaches the other part. This is definitely a crack, but I suspected that this is the shape of the molding, but no, I think it is also a crack. So unfortunately, we have this interesting looking grip section that, by the way, is made of a different plastic from the shiny plastic of the barrel. It has more, let's say, ruggedness to it in order to offer you a better grip position. It has also this cut material here. The nib. The nib, it is a steel nib. I don't know if it has an iridium tip, but I suspect no. I think this was used before because this feed, when it is new, it is rather transparent, but in contact with the ink, it takes the color of the ink, let's say, and we have some residues here of the ink. I suspect it was inked with a darker ink, maybe even a black one. Okay, guys, the barrel unscrews, and surprise, surprise, we have here the famous filling mechanism that was used on fountain pens made in communist countries. This inner converter, ink converter, that is practically joined in the body of the fountain pen. So it's not an ink converter that you can replace, but an integrated ink converter. It is like a piston and an inner piston. We have this rod that moves the piston, you can see, and you can back it like this. What is a useful trait in this mechanism. Due to the fact that you can't replace it, they thought of this part, and if you unscrew this part, you can have access to the mechanism. First of all, if you use a syringe, maybe you can reach this part and clean the excess of the ink, but also you can lubricate the ending, so this part, before the plastic cork, let's say, or the plastic ending of the piston. Okay, guys, so it is quite interesting, but oftentimes this part gets lost or it cracks. So be careful because it is quite an important part that allows you to move this piston rod. Guys, this is the fountain pen. The barrel, you can see it ends like this. It's quite simple. If we unscrew it back to the body, you can see the difference between this type of plastic and this type of plastic, the material. The cap is pressure fit and it fits like this. Just for a comparison, guys, I have here the famous Lamy 2000 from the end of the 1960s, a design from the end of the 1960s. You can see the slight differences between them. Of course, this has an integrating piston filling system, and this has a integrated ink converter. Similar the principle between them, but a nicer system on the German one, and of course it is more expensive than the filling solution adopted by the Romanian fountain pen from the 1980s. By the way, guys, I will leave also the dimensions of this Flaro Selena S on the screen, and after that I will do the written sample with it. You must know, guys, that we have here a fountain pen that used to be inked with black ink, and I will use a Faber-Castell pink erasable ink, so definitely it won't have this nice light pink color that is original to this ink, but I suspect it would have also some residues of black ink. And I'm sorry, guys, if I think better, I have a better solution for this one. I have the Faber-Castell dark ink, and we will use this dark ink. It is the same ink, but in this dark ink I've added some Parker Quick ink, a blue ink, a darker ink. And I said to myself, if I will immerse this in ink, it could contaminate this lighter ink. So I hope that you understand my worries, and without further delay, I will just shake the bottle of ink. I will open this and let's see if we can draw ink. So first of all, I simply operate this turning knob. I immerse it in the ink bottle. I slightly bent, okay, the ink bottle. And now let's try to see if we can draw ink. And it draws a quite decent amount of ink. Just look at it. Quite wonderful. Okay, I had a tissue right here. I'm not so sure where I left it. That's it. The tissue. Just clean it thoroughly. I hope that this crack won't give me problems. We'll see about that. I will leave it open for the moment. Now, guys, before I close the barrel, let me see if we have contact, ink contact. Yes, we have. And I was right, guys. Due to the fact that we had some black ink here, the color is quite affected. You will see not a pink one, but a dark purple ink. Let me see if we can post it. Yes, it can be posted, but I don't recommend this because this is a metallic cap and this is a plastic. And we have a micro scratch right over here. You can see. So if you want to avoid those micro scratches, just use it uncapped. I will put the cap here. I'm sorry. Okay, just like this. And now, guys, before the writing sample, you know that I like to modify the angle of the camera for you to have a better experience. Okay, in just seeing how this fountain pen writes. So I have here a Flaro. You can notice it has a shade, a quite shade of black, or let's say brown color of the ink. So I have here a Flaro Selena S. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. A Flaro Selena S. This is a product made in Romania. Made in Romania in the late 1980s and the beginning, or let's say the early 1990s. This is a simple fountain pen. It has a steel nib. Let me see if we have some line variation, some flex. No, definitely no flex. I don't particularly like the ink flow, and I don't think it's a juicy nib. Yes, you can see quite a dry nib. Let me also see if we have some line variance. So here without pressure and here pressure, you can see the bad ink flow, so no line variation. Okay, let me see how I can do a signature with it. I don't like it. It's not a wet nib. Okay, let me see if I can reverse write with it. So reverse writing. And strange, I don't know, those pens that manage to write better in reverse writing that they write normal. So definitely a possibility. It is a yes. And the inflow is better in reverse writing. Strange. Now I'm ready to tell you about the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I don't like this nib. Guys, I'm sincere with you. It is quite a dry nib. It even has the sensation that it scratches in some parts, but it is what it is. I just presented you this writing instrument. It appears that these cracks are quite a problem, and I certainly made maybe worse trying to write with it. This crack is, you can see, is quite a big crack. So this is the last time that I write with it. Guys, I want to wish you to have a nice day wherever you are. I want to thank you for your time watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed this rare and strange fountain pen made in Romania in limited numbers. I will simply put back the ink in the bottle. I don't like to waste the ink, so if I don't use this fountain pen, I will simply dry it out. And look at the beauty of this piston. It doesn't leave any marks on here. Maybe when I retract it, let me see. Yes, it is quite nice. Of course, guys, I will do the same procedure using water, so never, if you leave them for a long period, just clean them, and you will see when you try to reuse them, you will appreciate that you had that time of cleaning them properly before you store them for a large period of time. Now the ink is fresh and it is easier to clean. Guys, this was my review of this Flaro Selena S fountain pen, a late model from the 1980s, a decent model, a fountain pen intended for school use, but primarily intended as an export product for other communist countries. It is cheap, it is rather nice. I love the fact that it has that quite simple filling mechanism. And guys, if you've enjoyed this episode with the Flaro Selena S, please subscribe to my channel to support my activity. I want to wish you to have a nice day. We will see you again at the next episode. But till then, please take care of yourself and God bless.